what they don't tell you about heat exchanger design. I'm pretty sure that you have seen heat exchangers either in your textbooks, in your piping and instrumentation diagrams, process flow diagrams, or of course in the industry. But what they will not tell you in the lectures are all the problems that are behind the creation of a heat exchanger. And I'm talking about the messy, the design, the problems that arise with the vendors, the installation, startup, operation, and of course, maintenance. And in this video, we're going to be addressing that exactly. Let's get started with the design phase, which mostly focuses in the calculations of the heat duty, the LMTD, and of course, the selection or calculation of the U values or the U factors, either in charts or process simulation software. All this sounds great, but in the real world, what we're going to be doing the most is calculating fouling, calculating pressure drops, understanding whether or not the design allows for a good and proper maintenance, and of course, and more importantly, vendor constraints. And of course, we already know that even for the vendor to recreate the equipment will be impossible. So always understand that you need to give some extra room for error. For example, you may have specified for a shell side baffles for optimal heat transfer, only to find out that the fabricator couldn't meet the spacing requirements because of their welding tools, so they decided to do another thing, which is definitely not what you designed for. So, good takeaway, don't just design for the actual equipment or the performance, but rather for the actual fabrication and installation of the equipment. Part number 2, it's all about the installation. You will assume that the design and the actual building or production of the unit operation is by far the biggest problem, and spoiler alert, it's not. Or at least not even close. Installation is where you are going to see the problems with the actual sizing and design. You're going to see how all the beautiful drawings of the design are actually meeting reality. And what you're going to encounter are, of course, misaligned supports, nozzle orientations which can be flipped or inverted, space constraints you didn't catch in the 3D review, or many other things. And in many cases, the equipment will be rejected, but in reality, most cases, you're going to see that there will be a delay of time for the heat exchanger. So what eventually happens is that you have to adapt to the design of the actual heat exchanger with the error or mistakes of the vendor. Part number 3, it's all about the startup of the unit operation. So we already had problems with the creation of the heat exchanger, with the design, with the production, with the actual installation. And now it's all about getting started with the equipment, doing some performance tests and so on. And as you can imagine, it's not just about opening valves, heat material goes to the inside, cold material goes through the outside. No, it's way much more complicated. We're talking about dealing with thermal shock, improper venting of the equipment, training the operators for startup, operation, and shutdown of the equipment, maybe even working with the equipment which is not the actual design as the manual intended. What I can tell you is that this is by far one of the funniest and most interesting parts as a process engineer, because you are taking to life a equipment. The heat exchanger is going to eventually somehow be working for your process. And guys, I told you it's not all about problems or issues that you're going to encounter in the selection of your heat exchanger, but also about learning and considering some pro tips and takeaways. Rule number 1, design with fabrication and maintenance in mind. Rule number 2, always review the 3D models in collaboration with the vendor, operation team, and piping engineer, as well as with the layout team. A good process engineer is always going to be present while the installation of the equipment. Not only that, the actual job of the engineer is to make such changes that can prevent huge problems in the long run. And finally, guys, commission carefully. Remember that miscommunications can have hazardous conditions leading all the way to deadly conditions. And last but not least, always ensure to check out by yourself the design, the actual production or fabrication of the equipment, the installation, the startup, the testings, the operation, and even if possible, the maintenance of the heat exchanger. This is definitely going to save you a lot of problems later on. There you have it, guys, some problems, issues, and mistakes while working with heat exchangers. But hey, that's why there are chemical and process engineers working in the industry. And as you can compare, in academia, it's all about doing the proper calculations for heat duty, cold temperature, hot temperatures, the U value, the coefficients for falling, the sizing geometry. But in reality, the actual pain or headaches comes from the miscommunication with your team, with the vendor, and operators. The main idea of this video is to help you go ahead and at least know that there are some problems that are out there which are natural, but you, as the process engineer, are in charge of decreasing this type of problems. And guys, if you have been working with heat exchangers, either from the design, the simulation, the installation, maybe the commissioning, or you work in an EPC company, or if you're a process engineer working already with a heat exchanger, let us know in the comment section some stories, problems, issues that may have arisen and how you solve them. I'm pretty sure that our fellow engineers are going to take advantage of the stories. On my behalf, guys, that will be it. I'll see you in the next video.
Love is clean and love is pure. And love is a thing that no doctor can cure.